What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 31 of the Main Stand podcast. It's been 2 weeks, boys.
Been a couple weeks, yeah, been a minute. We took a little breather, watched some international footy.
I didn't.
Pat,
Full disclosure, I did not.
abstain
You had
from the
one
international
job.
football.
You had one job to do.
I don't. International friendlies suck, man. I don't want to watch those.
Nations League, baby. You got to be part of it. Be part of the qualifiers.
Glorified friendlies. I'm all set.
The road to 2026 has started. Otherwise, I mean, how was the past 2 weeks, boys? We haven't talked much. The group chat's been quiet.
My week's been interesting. I'm house sitting while the parents are taking a nice, lovely vacation in Cancun. So luckily, it's gonna quiet down or get a little bit louder tomorrow. I gotta go down to Boston and pick them up. But I've just been sitting at home, relaxing, playing a lot of Civ 6 and FIFA, working on the foot birthday. I've packed LaFont like 7 times now, and I want to scream.
I got the lad from Sevilla, the defender. I'm not sure who it was, center back. But yeah, FIFA's been a grind lately, man. It's everyone's really good, so it's tough towards the end of the year. We watch any Ted Lasso, boys? Before we get into the real heavy stuff, let's just cover the topical things.
What do you mean
Fuck
the real heavy
Nate.
stuff? Yeah, fuck Nate.
Nate's
What
a
do you mean
rat.
Nate's
This
a rat.
is heavy. Ted Lasso is extremely heavy, man.
Ted
I
Lasso
cried my eyes
is
out.
heavy. It's getting heavier too, I think.
It's looking like it's trending that way. But you know what? I hadn't watched it up until season 3 just started. I like to wait, let things marinate, and go back and binge it. And I tell you what, they've done a great job with that show so far. I've really enjoyed it.
I really like especially if you watch the last episode 3 of this season, the ability to now kind of introduce real footage of like Old Trafford and stuff, I think has really just amped up what was already a great TV show into something that's almost like Entourage-esque. Like being able to put like real celebrities and real music and real brands like in something makes it 10 times better.
Like
Did you guys see that they did catch a little flack for episode 1 for altering that banner in Stamford Bridge, though?
Yes, I did hear about it. Bass said he was abstaining from watching it due to that. I personally, I think at the end of the day, when a show is trying to do good and do right by both the American fans and the international fans, I think you kind of have to overlook something like that. It's not as egregious as some things I've seen in sports movies or football movies before. So I take it with a grain of salt, but I'm not a Chelsea fan, so I can't like really relate to the personal attachment.
Can we give background on that? Because I actually don't know what you guys are talking about.
The Roy Kent, they don't make him like you anymore. They don't make him like Roy Kent anymore. Banner is a real banner in Stamford Bridge for a former Chelsea player whose name is escaping me that I believe passed away this year or last, and they altered the banner that is hanging in Stamford Bridge to say Roy Kent instead of the other guy.
Interesting.
I think when you look at football as a whole, like you're going to have overlap no matter where you are. Like teams will have similar songs, they just roll out a different name, a different place that they're from. It happens more often than like this situation. Like I said, I think it's a show. Episode 3 has put more on-field football than the entire rest of the series combined. Like you see more game action, you see like the emergence of Zava and stuff like that. So I think it's just a show at the end of the day. And I don't think they meant any ill will, but I can see where people would get frustrated.
I love that they just ripped off Zlatan for Zlava too. Like it literally is just a parallel, 100%.
The tattoo on his back,
Yeah,
everything.
just like the serene meditation in the locker room.
Yeah,
it was great. And then they're making Jamie Tart more like Jack Grealish every single day. the hair he came in the locker room with in the third episode, like the kind of like the straggy. I mean, the icon clothes he wears, the D squared clothes. It's just so funny how much they modeled him after Jack Grealish, and I would love to see how someone like Grealish reacts watching that show, because he's completely like tuned into the culture.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, Jamie Tart was one of my favorite glow ups from that show to first season to now. So I'm happy that he's like unironically one of the best parts of the show now, instead of just like the guy to hate.
Yeah, for sure.
We got the guy to hate, and it's Nate.
Nate's a rat. I hope West Ham get relegated like in real life.
It is Nate. It also, no spoilers, but it could be Trent Krim, depending on how the next couple episodes go. We're talking about dynamic managers here with Ted Lasso. Let's move it on and talk about some more managers. And the big manager move that I think everyone wants to talk about that we haven't touched on yet. Roy Hodgson to back to Palace, lads.
That's the big one.
A tale as old as time.
That is a fucking joke, actually. I think that's such a step in the wrong direction for Palace. I think that is such a stupid, old-minded. It's a fucking awful decision, dude. It's so. They took like 3 steps forward with Vieira, and they just took 10 back, hiring Hodgson again. Like, it's a joke. I hope they get relegated. Fuck them.
I gasped when I found out that he was going to be the manager at 75 years old. I want to look back and see how many times this is only his second stint there, I guess, which is crazy because it seemed like he coached there for a long time.
That's
I'm sure it's his third. I think it's his third stint at Palace.
Okay. Yeah, it's crazy either way. I saw him pulling up to their training facility, and I was like, what? I mean, to go from Vieira, who was fairly progressive, new manager, to Roy Hodgson is,
it's fucking
prehistoric.
Ancient. Dude's a fucking bag of dust.
Will he keep them up, though?
I hope not.
I'm sure he will.
He will though.
I think with the league we have this year, I don't think that move is going to be detrimental to where Palace are finishing. They're just going to be a clear mid-table team. They'll fall back a little bit, but it's such a just lateral move. It doesn't get you anywhere. It's not gonna take away from you staying up in the Prem. He's a fine manager, like he knows what he's doing, but it does seem a little
it's not even lateral.
I don't know, lazy,
step backwards.
Lazy. If you look at the club, he's not going to lose them the league. Like, he's not going to drop them down to the championship. There's also teams a lot worse than Palace, have a lot less talent to work with. It's just lazy. I think if you want to make a change, look somewhere fresh, somewhere new. If Vieira wasn't working out, but let's just take it back to old reliable Roy.
I mean, I don't know, man. Roy Hodgson's last job, he came in to replace Claudio Ranieri at Watford, and then he finished 19th with 23 points and got relegated. That's what I was thinking of, by the way. Second stint with Palace, third stint in the Premier League, in these last few years.
He also is like Coach K, where he has to make like the whole thing about himself. At the end of last season, the whole last few games was the Roy Hodgson goodbye era, and it's gonna be funny to just watch him do it again with Palace.
I really want Roy to just be a touchline reporter. That would be electric.
I'm just over.
I don't know if he has the guile. I don't think he could do it, man.
Okay, so enough about Roy, because that's not actually the managers that people want to hear about, but it is funny. Do you guys want to start in the league, or do we want to get out of the league?
Yeah, let's go out of the league first. That's the kind of the domino that made everything fail, it seems like. Well,
I'm just pissed about this one personally. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Nagelsmann got sacked by Bayern, and Tuchel is their manager now, and they're gonna fucking beat us in the Champions League now, and I'm so angry about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident about that too now.
I'm so angry about it, man. He's fucking our kryptonite in the goddamn Champions League, and he's just back.
First things first, I mean, like, Nagelsmann getting sacked I thought was quite surprising. I know we're not a Bundesliga podcast, but he's lost, I think, 3 times this year. They are trailing Dortmund. I mean, ahead of what's going to be a huge game this weekend. Bayern Munich plays Dortmund, which could really decide who wins the cup at the end of the year. But sacking him before that game and really not even giving him the chance to, make an impact. And I guess they saw him a little bit last season too, falling out of the Champions League to Villarreal and whatnot. But yeah, halfway through the season, 3 losses, and he gets canned, which I thought was the kind of the most surprising thing out of all this. Tuchel going, I think, made sense.
No, yeah, him being the replacement made sense, but was equally surprising is the fact that he's undefeated in the Champions League too. He's second in the league by a point and undefeated in the Champions League, and he got sacked.
Makes you wonder what they know, like what the people at the club know, and how he actually operates as a manager. Maybe his backroom does more than he does. You never know with this kind of stuff. I do think after a season with only 3 losses, it's pretty harsh.
He sounds like a real Ted Lasso.
Yeah, for sure. Tuchel is, you know how that game's going to go, Pat. I know we're going to talk about Champions League and how the draw played out, but you know that Tuchel's going to kill you.
You know what? I'm going to ride with my guys. I'm going to ride with them. I don't care if it makes sense or not. We'll get there, but I'm going to ride with my guys.
The other big manager move here, Tottenham and Antonio Conte decide to part ways. That seemed rather inevitable since I think the last time we chatted, boys, when he kind of went up one side of Tottenham and down the other.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, just given the season as a whole. I guess my question, and I kind of have an opinion about this as I have about everything, but are we putting this Conte thing, are we putting this on him or on the players?
I would probably say a little bit of both. It's you're not getting the same like decisive like cutthroat Tottenham. You're not getting the team that's going to show up in stoppage time. You're not getting the team that's really really dangerous on the counterattack. I think it's a little bit of both. I really do. And they have brought in a lot of good talent. They have switched up the midfield and shored that up. Kulusevski is getting his first full year, and it hasn't been nearly as hot as last season. So I think it does go both ways. But at the end of the day, when you're a club with the trophy cloth that Tottenham has, I think you need to really find your fit. And I just don't think he has been that.
I think it's kind of I'm going to agree with you. I think it's kind of like the perfect storm in terms of like shit. It's just from the back room to the ownership to the management to the players, the club just doesn't really feel particularly well run, and the players don't feel particularly well drilled. I mean, you've brought in serial winners in Conte and Mourinho in the past 3-4 years, and you haven't managed to win a single trophy. Something is wrong, just like with that club as a whole. And I mean, Son even said it, today, day of recording for South Korea, that he feels a little bad and he feels like it's kind of the players' fault because he himself hasn't really played particularly well. Yeah. And there's definitely something to be said about the fact that Son's been pretty bad, Richarlison's been pretty bad. It's been a one-man show for Harry Kane up top for Tottenham for a majority of this season. But overall, I just think the club as a whole are a disaster, and they have a lot of stuff to fix, and it's not going to be solved by one manager or one signing. It's just like a club philosophy thing that like really needs to change.
Sure. I kind of agree with that too. I think it might be the end of the road for this current crop of players as well. I think you only see, a handful of years, especially with your star players. And Tottenham they've definitely rotated in other areas, but in terms of their big players, they've stayed pretty stagnant for the past few years. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Kane was on the chopping block. I feel like reluctantly stayed. Um, I feel like Heung-min Son needs to go elsewhere and find just that little extra push because you can see it on the field too. He's gassed. He doesn't have anything to look at unless it's Harry Kane. So I don't know. I think it's just stagnated long enough, and it is time for a complete revamp. In my
I think
opinion.
Kane's out the door this summer.
Yeah.
I think Kane's gone. I think he's going to United. If United don't land Goncalo Ramos or someone a little younger, I think Kane to United is a pretty good value for money if you're a betting man.
Yeah, you would think so. I think the only other place Kane would even think of would be over Real Madrid, and they are definitely short up at the striker position. So
He had his chance to force his move to a good club.
I mean, with Osimhen on the block, he could go over to Serie A. I could see it. I think Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane.
Harry Kane playing at Italy is not.
It'd be hilarious. It'd be hilarious, but the Italian game fits him so well, and he could go over there and ball.
I think you're probably right. But the Harry Kane trying to speak Italian is so goddamn funny.
Especially with his wrist. His wrists are like permanently locked, so you'd have to talk with his hands like this.
That's so bad.
That's so funny.
Speaking of clubs that have an interim manager, not a club but a country, U.S. men's national team. We talked a little bit about the international break, but we want to touch on the boys in the USA. We haven't talked about them since the World Cup hardly. Mitch is repping the warm-up kit there. Anthony Hudson took over this window and did a really good job with the boys, I think. 7-0 win over Grenada, 1-0 win over El Salvador. Do you get a look at the boys, guys, or did you stay pretty far away from it?
Absolutely took a look, and I was thoroughly impressed with what I saw, I'll have to say. It seemed like our set pieces especially, I was so happy with. It was like there was 8 guys hungry to get in at net every time the ball got swung in off a corner. There was a lot more creativity. The passing seemed a lot more crisp. I was really impressed in both fixtures.
Yeah. I
didn't watch the game.
Okay. No.
I didn't watch.
I like the consistency as well, Mitch. I think the big thing for the U.S. men's national team is really I think we know that they can impress on offense kind of on their day. We know they can defend well, but it's about the midfield possessions and stuff, not losing the ball in the middle of the game. And those can cause those silly kind of counterattack goals, especially against these CONCACAF sides that have pace and the ability to score kind of on a whim. So to go out and hold 2 clean sheets in CONCACAF, one game being away on a pretty sloppy pitch, to not only outplay Grenada like that, but to see out a 1-0 win against El Salvador, were both really, really impressive. And I could go on and list the players that impressed me. I thought Weston played really well over the 2 games. Pepe's back in the goals. Christian obviously played his head off in the first game too.
Zendejas, huge shout out to him too. He shored up that right side when Dest was a little bit lackluster. He was definitely kind of the black sheep of the defensive line, in my opinion. But I thought Tim Ream stepped up. Matt Turner looked great. All in all, really good start to the 2026 campaign.
Yeah, and it's not the most There's other important news that came out of this window, and we didn't talk about this before the podcast, so I'm kind of throwing this to you guys late here. But Flo Balogun, the news really heating up about the U.S.'s recruitment for him. Comments from both sides, Hudson and Gareth Southgate as well, saying we're not going to chase a player. We have to give caps to these people like Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins who have earned it, scored Premier League goals, which are way heavier than Ligue 1 goals. And Flo Balogun gets flown out to the United States, toured around all these sports games. 17 goals in Ligue 1 this year. I think Mbappe is the only one who scored more than him. He's in like the top 90th percentile in Europe for non-pen goals, XG, progressive passes. I could go on and on. But I want to get your guys' take on Flo Balogun, if you think he's actually going to end up on the U.S. men's national team and what that actually means for us going forward and in 2026.
One, I want to say it's insane that doesn't get you an England call-up in this day and age. He's better than Ollie Watkins, like 100%. This season, we're going on this season, and like you have done enough to earn a cap for a big nation.
Yep.
It's crazy that he is not getting an England call up, and Ollie Watkins is in the conversation.
I mean, Pat,
for guys that should get one.
They had 25 of 26 players from the Premier League on this year's World Cup roster. The only exception was Jude.
I know, and I'm just saying it's wild that you can put those numbers up, and like the U.S. is like your best option. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm really happy about it. I'm ecstatic that a player like him is looking likely to be in the red, white, and blue, and I think that does immeasurably good things for our front line. I like Pepe a lot. I'm a big Pepe guy. I like Pfok. I'm a big P. Actually, Pepe's kind of I like Pfok. I like Pfok, but 17 goals in Liga, and if the only guy in your league that's outscoring you is Kylian fucking Mbappe, and you're about to play for the United States men's national team, there's only good things in my head about that. You know, that's my 2 cents. I'm thrilled that a player of that quality looks likely to be in the red, white, and blue in 2026.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I mean, I would if that's what the U.S. is coming to, where we're actually in the running for a player like that up with England, and if they're going to pass on him, that just makes him hungrier. That just makes him want to go out and prove people wrong. Absolutely, I'm going to want somebody who's got a nose for the goals running at defenders. I just don't want it to throw the U.S. into an absolute tizzy. We don't need a Zava coming in and throwing off our best goal getters. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he would be our best goal getter, and he would score loads of them. He's like the last piece to this puzzle that we fucking desperately need.
Yeah.
I think we've seen, too, that our international recruitment strategy has almost always paid off. You know, guys like Jermaine Jones were products of Jurgen Klinsmann going out and bringing in these, Musa, guys like that were products of managers going out and picking up these guys that were deemed as not good enough for some of these bigger European teams. And, you know, maybe that is true. That probably is the case. I don't think Yunus Musa is better than any midfielder in England's midfield, except Jordan Henderson. He's shit. But, you know, sorry, had to sneak that one in.
Okay.
But I think it's a good thing that we're going out, we're getting these foreign guys and just being like, just, you know, America, freedom. Get in here.
The Musa pull I like here. I think both of them played at Arsenal, or obviously Flo still does, on loan from there. So I like the pull there. I think we treated him, you know, like a priority, where at England he's an option. And the thing with big countries is you're always going to be an option. It's very rare, unless you're Harry Kane, you become like an automatic selection. In the U.S., he would be an automatic selection, which I think to a young player like that probably has quite a bit of value.
So a ton.
Can't wait to see Flo Balogun net a brace at Fenway Park or Gillette Stadium in 4 years.
That'll be sick.
Yeah, I have a feeling he could be like the guy. Like how we've never really had. I think Christian is gonna be like a legend, but we've never had the guy where he's one of the best players in the world. Flo Balogun's real young and he scores a lot of goals. I think he could be like one of our more prolific players ever, should he decide to come.
We got to see the career trajectory though, so I'm not.
Oh, I'm completely overhyping him, but I'm gonna overhype it until we win the World Cup.
You know what happened with Freddie Adu?
Yeah, we got to be real careful.
Hey, Freddie's a legend. Freddie's a legend. Let's talk about European football, Pat. The competition you're still in. Why don't you rattle off the draw here? Give your reaction.
So there's a lot going on here. We got one side of the bracket that is loaded with. This is the Champions League, by the way, everybody. Just That was not the roughest transition.
Here,
True.
I'll get you with the transition. The champions. There
Thank you.
go.
Play the
Okay,
conference theme.
So on one side of the bracket, we've got a matchup between heavyweights, like a finals matchup worthy game in City and Bayern. Then we've got Chelsea and Real Madrid. And then on the other side of the bracket, we have got Napoli going up against AC Milan, and then we've got Benfica and Inter Milan. Right? That was right?
Yes, that is
yes,
right.
Cool. Sweet.
I have it written down.
And
Logistics.
so there's a couple of takeaways before we talk about like the crazy parts, the like real intricate parts of these matchups. It's that Napoli or Benfica are probably going to be in a Champions League final. One of those two teams, really good chance there is a team that is like not a regular to be in a European final this year. Two, the City Bayern Madrid Chelsea side of the bracket is loaded. That's going to be two ties like back to back that are going to be crazy. We can which tie do you guys want to start with? We can go in depth with a couple of them, and we can give our thoughts. We can start with City Bayern if you want to just get that out of the way.
Yeah, let's get that out of the way.
All right. So here's what I'm going to say.
We're listening.
Yes, Bayern have the new manager bounce. I'm not willing to just give them this tie until I see them play against Dortmund this weekend. So as of right now, City feel like they're hitting their stride at the perfect time for a Champions League run. The team as a whole, very, very good. Haaland, 42 goals in all competitions. De Bruyne hitting form. Ruben Dias finally back in the team. Nathan Ake having a career best season, arguably one of the best defenders in the Premier League this year. Jack Grealish looking really good. Rodri having, another quiet best DM in the world type of season. Yes, Bayern are very, very good. They've got Sane, Mane, Muller, Gnabry, Choupo-Moting, and Musiala all on, and plus GA. They probably have some of the best attacking depth in Europe. And then, they also added João Cancelo, LOL. And they have the fewest goals conceded in the Bundesliga and a plus 45 goal differential. So they literally look like City in terms of their numbers. If you just look at City's goal differential, goals scored, goals conceded, and then you look at Bayern, they look like the same exact type of teams. They're juggernauts in their own leagues, respectively. But I think City have that it factor this year in Erling Haaland. And I think a healthy Haaland is the decider in a tie like this. And I'm gonna put it on the line. I'm gonna put it on wax. City are gonna be in the semifinals. I think they'll go through. I think they have what it takes this year.
Was Cancelo a loan move, Pat?
He was a loan with an option to buy, and I hope he stays. I would like that 65 million. He can play.
Oh, okay.
He can play.
Is that going to be bad karma for you guys? Bad juju?
No, it's a big game. He's going to play like shit.
And that's why I think City are walking. I just think Bayern have way more offensive pressure than City know what to do with. They haven't had to go up against an attacking force like this season, in my opinion. Yeah, I think Bayern, with the new manager bounce, are going to send them packing.
Bayern have 2 goals on 2 players with more than 10 goals this season. Oh, I don't know about that much attacking force.
You know who likes to score against City?
I'm sorry, mister. Oh, they're just like City. They're juggernauts.
They have a lot of players that are good at attacking.
You named 5 players that said they have a brutal attack and then say they're not that good.
You're making it out like City have played nothing but schmucks. We beat Arsenal 3-0 at home.
But Arsenal aren't Bayern Munich.
They're just top of the Premier League.
No, Pat, you know Mitch is right there. Shut up.
God, top of the Premier League. To say that City can't cope with them.
You know what Mitch
wild.
is saying.
You know exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they can't cope with them. I'm saying they haven't been tested like this. City in the Champions League is a much different story than City in the Premier League. And I think with what Bayern have, they have a very strong team, very strong defense, very good goalkeeper. I think they have more ability to shut down somebody like Erling Haaland than probably anybody other than Real Madrid.
Plus, they have a manager who is going to, defensively
park the bus. He's going to have 10 people in the box anytime you're getting close.
Which I feel like was Bayern's weakness in the past, half year. I feel like they were too open at times. They were too all-out attacks. So I think Tuchel can kind of – maybe it's too quick for him to kind of enact his vision on this team, but I think that'll help him. And then Sadio Mane.
Chelsea pretty quick.
Sadio Mane has a pretty good record against you. I'm not saying he's going to score, but I wouldn't bet against him.
Total side note, this has nothing to do with the tie anymore. I just can't believe that fucking Choupo-Moting has 10 goals for Bayern this year.
He's balling.
I don't know how he stayed there as long as he has.
Their second top scorer. It's fucked. I don't get it. You know what? It's going to be a good tie. And when City go through, I'll see you guys on that episode.
The next one in the same side of the bracket, Chelsea, Real Madrid. These two obviously met last year in what was a thrilling game, but I think it's two different sides this year, if we're being fair. I think Real Madrid are going to rip them to parts.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the same Real Madrid Cinderella story marching all the way to the final.
I think Madrid are definitely going to win this tie, but I am just going to plant a seed in the world. Every time Chelsea have won the Champions League, they have played like dog shit in the league. They've been ass and then have just managed to win a Champions League. So I think Chelsea are going to lose this tie. I think Real Madrid are absolutely going through, but I wouldn't call it like a done and dusted, for sure tie. Chelsea have some weird ass juju in the Champions League, just like Real Madrid do. So it's going to be interesting.
Pat's wheels would be spinning if Raheem Sterling won a Champions League before City did.
I don't want to talk about how I would feel.
We'll move over to the underdog side. Napoli, Milan. Are we all on the side of Napoli here? I feel like we've kind of talked Napoli up to a point this season where we can't go back.
Yeah, I think right now they might be my pick to win the whole thing.
For value, I like that. I think
just in general, I think they're actually the best team in Europe right now.
Really? Over Madrid?
They're unbelievable. They're 21 points clear in Serie A right now. They've ripped every team apart that they have played in the Champions League.
Besides Liverpool.
They beat you 4-1.
We beat them.
They beat you 4-1. They ripped you apart at least once.
They're apart on the second time.
They're really, really good. And I just think there's something special about this Napoli team. So I definitely expect to see them in the final. They're balling out, man. They're balling out. Osimhen, 21 goals in the league. Kvaratskhelia.
You nailed it.
12 goals, 10 assists. He's got 22 GA in Serie A right now. He's balling. I think they have the best press in Europe. I like Napoli a lot. I think they're definitely going to be in the final. And as of right now, like I said, I think they're better than any other team left in the tournament.
Milan kind of suck too.
They're terrible. Milan are ass.
Milan do suck. And one other player I fucking always mention, Zambo. He does so much for that midfield. He is so fucking good in that 7.
I'd love a Real Madrid Napoli Champions League final. I think Napoli winning a big trophy would be like football heritage really coming to life. I think Napoli was always my favorite team in Serie A, so seeing them win something would be cool.
It would be cool. And then the other game too, Inter Benfica. I think this feels in my mind, this feels like a pretty. I think Benfica are going to kick the shit out of them.
And the Milan team suck. I mean, they got through. I mean, Inter played such a decrepit Porto side and like barely crossed over the line.
And then AC Milan, AC Milan did the same thing. They just dragged themselves across the line against a pretty poor Tottenham too. So
yeah, both of them suck. I mean, Lukaku's kind of coming back into the fold at Inter. I just think Benfica have so much momentum, and like you mentioned Gonçalo Ramos, he's just been playing out of his mind.
And João Mario too, 33 goals and 8 assists in the Portuguese league between João Mario and Gonçalo Ramos. Like they're fucking balling over there. And then let's not forget about David Neres and Rafa Silva on the wings as well. They're a really, really good side. Grimaldo at left back is a player who's constantly linked with the top clubs in Europe. And then my guy El General, Nico Otamendi, holding it down at the back for him. They're good. I like this Benfica team too. I think if they both get through, that's going to be a very, very, very interesting semifinal between Napoli and Benfica, which is a matchup I really hope to see.
You mentioned him. This is such a small tidbit, but I love David Neres so much. Dude just gets shamelessly high
all the time, dude.
I need to see the champions. Like I need Benfica to make the final as well, just to get the panning shot of all the players, like with the anthem and like the scenery behind them, and Neres just high as shit.
Can we get the Champions League except everyone is absolutely blitzed?
Dude's playing in the Champions League like in the late rounds and probably wishes he was still at Ajax.
Probably thinks he's still at Ajax. What do you mean wishes?
Nah, he's fucking in outer space.
But that's the Champions League. Let us know what you think. Most of you probably think City are losing, so tell me that. Tell me why I'm wrong and City are losing. It's fun. I think you're wrong. So there's that.
The only other thing for the episode, we have a big one this weekend, boys. The Prem's back. The Zoo's back. The boys are getting together at 7:30 on Saturday morning and watching Liverpool Man City. It's going to be an absolute barn burner.
Man City Liverpool, we're hosting this time. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, get the order right.
Relax.
Holland might be injured, so.
Yeah, I saw that.
He did. I think I read this morning it was light training. He missed regular City training. So
Alvarez up top.
It'll probably be out. No Foden either. Foden's out he had surgery for appendicitis. Ooh. So it's going to be Grealish, Mahrez, Alvarez front three if Holland isn't healthy. If Holland is healthy, it might be Grealish, Holland, Alvarez. Which
interesting.
I like that a lot.
I'm not as concerned with the attacking setup of City. I'm more concerned with the midfield and how Liverpool are going to match up. Do we got Hendo back?
Yeah, he played for England.
So
we also have Lucho back. Luis Diaz was in pictures training today, along with Darwin Núñez, who was questionable.
Yeah. So if we have to put out another James Milner, Diogo Jota midfield, I'm going to cry and just sit there and take it because we'll be in a public setting. But
you'll be fine. It's impossible for James Milner to get sent off playing against City, so he can do whatever he wants.
He also had like the best game of his life in the reverse fixture this year. Well, he started in defense, didn't he?
He did.
Was that the fixture he should have been off in 25 minutes, or was that last year?
That was last year.
That was last year. But I don't know. I just want us to be healthy. I want us to have 1 year where we're not scraping the bottom of the barrel to get a team sheet together.
Yeah.
You got over 90 points for like 3 years in a row.
We had to work for that, Patrick.
You're acting like you're some poverty side who's never been good.
I'm not saying we're a poverty side, but every time we run up with City, it feels like we're struggling with injury. It
That's
it
not
always
that's hilarious.
it
You're
always feels
wild.
like it. It always feels like it. I don't know.
Yeah, two of our three best attackers are out this game, probably. But
I'm not
we're
I'm
not
not
struggling.
I'm not saying you. I'm hey. I'm not saying anything about City. I'm just talking from my perspective. It like we have glass midfielders for fucking 5 years, and it shows. I don't know.
Pat, you are right, but at the same time, Mitch is also right because your replacements are Riyad Mahrez and Julian Alvarez, while our replacements are like Curtis Jones and fucking Milner. So pipe it.
Okay, I'll concede that point.
Anyway,
Let's bring on fucking Gundogan and fucking. I mean, god
the
damn,
World
dude.
XI.
Like,
I'm pretty optimistic going into this one. It's been a roller coaster for us, obviously, all season.
it has.
But we always get kind of worried before we play City, and usually it ends up being fine.
Yeah, it'll
especially
be
in
fine.
the league. I think we'll actually maybe get a result. I mean, going into the first game this season, we didn't think they were going to get anything. And it was a 1-0. It was like Gomez played an insane game. Milner started and played insane. So we're lying if we say we can predict how this is going to go. And I do think it's a big boost.
João Cancelo can't just hand Salah a goal to win you guys the game, though.
That was a really good goal, too. I know Cancelo wasn't a good defender, but that was a great goal.
It was, but João Cancelo could have done a lot better.
Oh, for sure.
On that Salah goal. I like you're optimistic. I too am optimistic. I think City are in really good form right now. Alvarez and Haaland both amongst the goals these past couple of games. Even without Haaland, I'm confident with just Alvarez up top. Your center backs have given me absolutely zero, cause for concern ever since that game you beat us. You guys have just been so strange and bad at the back, just inconsistent, I think is the right word. And City are finding their feet at a really good time of the season, so I think it's going to be a cracking game. I think City win 2-1 though.
I'll go 2-2 draw.
Could also happen.
I'm gonna go. Darwin's healthy. Yeah, no, my heart saying 2-2, steal a point, but my brain's saying 2-0 City.
Fucking A, man.
I just don't have the confidence. It's been like you said, it's been a roller coaster. It's so inconsistent. I'm going to support. I'm going to put all of my red blood through me, but logically, when I look at our defensive backs, their attacking ability, and our lack of midfield right now, I don't see how we do it.
We'll see. Like Pat said, it should be a really good game. We need 3 points somewhere because we play Arsenal next week. We need 3 points in one of them.
No, we need 3 points in this one, and then you need 3 points next week. Stop. All right? Do me a fucking favor.
I will say 13 days of rest is nice.
Yeah, well, it could be a completely different team. You know what?
Just
you don't know.
Do me a fucking favor.
Wait, is Arthur Melo gonna start?
That is funny that he's still training. I don't know why he just doesn't go back to Italy and just chill. But yeah, that was episode 31, boys. Quick 40 for the lads. We'll be out again at the zoo, I think, Saturday morning. Yeah,
that's the plan.
As long as the boys are feeling good. Premier League's back. It's the run-in. We have things going, I think, on all leagues, especially with Champions League. I think we're tuned in at all levels, ready to put out some content for the end of the year. You got anything for the audience, guys?
Thanks for tuning in.
Fucking Reds.
Like, comment, subscribe, share the thing. City till I die. Fuck Liverpool. Peace.